Patrol, ladies and gentlemen. Thank God. God damn, I miss Doom Patrol. When that theme music hits, when you hear that, like that shit just like, like I don't know, like it does something to the soul. And it's your boy Icon with a DC TV review. I haven't said that in a long time for you. Thank God, the Doom has returned. Episode 7, Orqwith Patrol, episode 7. And we only got, we only got about 7 episodes to go. So I feel like everything I'm reviewing lately has been coming to an end. But I didn't. All I remember from the previous 6 episodes is the entire team was trapped in the Shadow Realm and the zombie butt apocalypse is upon us. So going over some Doom Patrol, and before we get started, as always, hit the like button, comment, and subscribe, especially if you like this DC TV goodness, if you like what I do, because the channel is growing and I love you all for it. So now, in this particular episode, the episode starts, thank God. And again, when we last left, the team had got kidnapped by Wally. He was the guy who shot Rita's boyfriend, who Madame Rouge had deemed as a soldier, and now he's come back to claim his vengeance and to bring Immortus to life. Rita and Madame Rouge. And I love the two of them together. I completely love the two of them together. In the last episode, they went into Wally. They tried to save Wally, actually. But then Rita, she ended up expanding, and then she thought that she killed him because his green goo splattered all over the place. She didn't kill him. He got sent to the Shadow Realm. But Rita thought that she killed him. And then in her despair, she was kind of giving up hope. And then Madame Rouge was just we've got to get out of here, Rita. And she was just but I've done nothing. And I just deserve what I get. And then she's snap out of it, Bindi. And then she turned herself into a suitcase, and Rita ended up going into Madame Rouge as a suitcase, and they wheeled themselves out of the fortress of evil. They go back to Doom Manor, and Rita's pretty much giving up hope at this point, because she's like, oh, there's nothing I can do. She's like, I'm a failed hero. And then she's like, I'm going to go upstairs and wither away until my time is upon us. Now, Madame Rouge, however, she still feels bad and they brought this up too, because they said that the episode where Rita was reliving her life in her movie where she got her longevity taken, she had said to Madame Rouge, she was just because Madame Rouge was oh, we have to save the team. She was we have to save everybody. She said, this is what we do. She's we're supposed to be superheroes. And then Rita was well, if that's the case, bitch, she said, when I was trapped in my own movies, how come you didn't come to save me? Because in that whole episode, Madame Rouge stayed behind and she got drunk. And then she said that she wanted to help you. She was I wanted to help you, but I didn't know how. So she's I started drinking to get the creative juices flowing, and then it just became about drinking. And then she's just I failed you, but I'm not going to fail the team. The two of them had a heart-to-heart moment, and then that's when Rita was just you're trying to save the man who you ordered to kill my boyfriend and everything. But of course, the two, at the end of the day, as much as the two of them hate each other, and Rita even said, she said that I feel like the universe is trying to put us against each other. Then in the end, Madame Rouge, she was well, fuck the universe. And then she was I love you, Bindi. And then the two of them toasted. They got drunk, but when they were in Wally's room, they took all of his drawings and all of his paper, because Wally has the power to make drawings and stuff come to life. When they took his papers and his drawings, they brought him back to Doom Manor. They were going through his papers, and then Rita saw that in one of his drawings, well, not Rita, Madame Rouge saw that in one of his drawings, there was a drawing of a machine that they can use to get themselves in and out of the Shadow Realm. So Rita and Madame Rouge, they banded together to build this machine because they're going to save their friends. Meanwhile, they're still getting drunk. Cyborg now, he's still with his boy, and him and his boy, they're still trapped in the Shadow Realm. They met up with Cliff and Jane because all 4 of them got captured together. When they get thrown in prison, Jane and Cliff is just Cyborg's friend was okay, so I'm with the superheroes. What are we going to do? Get out of here. Let's all come together and come up with a plan. And then Jane and Cliff was just motherfucker, don't tell us how to do this shit. This is what we do. And then he was just all right. And then he took out his paper, because he's the only one who's thinking, apparently, because he took the pieces of paper that are scattered all over the world, all over the Shadow Realm. He started drawing an image of a rock, and a rock fell and crashed on the minions that were keeping them captive. And then that's when he just walked out the front door, and he was yo, so yeah, still doing the superhero plan and shit, because me and Vic about to leave. So then they decided to split up. And the funny thing was, throughout the entire episode, Jane kept forgetting that Larry even existed, because when Jane was now that we're free, we got to go get our longevity back. And then he was and then Cyborg said, and also save Larry. And then she was oh shit, yeah, I forgot about Larry. So then they decided to split up. So Victor and his boy, they went to go help Larry. Meanwhile, Jane and Cliff, they went to go whoop Wally's ass so they can get back their longevity. While Vic and his boy were on their way to rescue Larry, the minions were coming up and they had to defend themselves. So his boy used one of his drawings to create the Cyborg arm cannon. He gave it to Vic. Vic said he didn't want it. Vic instead ended up creating a fire lightsaber, and they used that to, like, you know, beat up the minions. His boy used the arm cannon, and then he was just like, yo, bro, this shit is awesome. He was like, I don't understand, like, why you don't want this. How could you give this up? Being Cyborg is the best thing. And then that's when Vic got mad. He was like, look, motherfucker. He said, being Cyborg may be the greatest shit of all time to someone who doesn't have to be Cyborg. And while you guys just like, oh, that's Victor Stone, he's a superhero, he's from the hood, and he's here to protect the world and the planet. He said, my metal ass, I had to wake up every single day looking into a metal face. He's like looking at a metal body, listening to the entire internet. He was like, yo, I got metal balls. You know what I'm saying? He's like, yo, if I ejaculate, it's gonna shoot out like screws and everything. He's like, it's not. He said, it's cool to be Cyborg from the outside looking in, but when you actually have to be that person every single day, he said it's not cool. And he said, and plus, in order for me to get to this moment, I lost my mom. You know what I'm saying? He's like, you know, I lost my friends, like I lost everybody. And then his boy was like, you didn't lose us, but he said, yeah, but I was in a place where I couldn't even look myself in the eye. So how could I face my friends and my, you know, and my relatives and my family and everybody? He was like, yeah, I honestly don't understand how hard it is to be Cyborg. And then that's when he kind of like feel bad for him. The two of them, then they kind of made up, and then he understood more where he was coming from. So the two of them ended up, you know, they found Larry, and when the two of them found Larry was basically like pinned up against a wall, and he was talking about how Keeg wanted to stay in the Shadow Realm because he didn't want to go out into the real world because of what he saw in the future. And then Larry was just like, yeah, he was like, you know, I'm not going with you guys. I don't deserve happiness, and I'm just going to stay here, and I'm just going to wither away because he's like, I don't want to lose Keeg and everything. But then Cyborg was like, bro, but you're about to lose everybody. He said, if Immortus gets his way, we're all going to die. And I don't know about you, but I'm just not going to sit here and let our family die. And then Larry felt guilty, and he was like, okay, fine. And he got up. And then him and Vic and his boy went to go fight Immortus and everything and see what they could do. Jane and Cliff now, they go off. They actually found Immortus. And when they got there, because out of everybody's longevity, the only longevity he didn't get his hands on yet was Cliff's. So then Jane had threatened to kill Cliff, to cut his brain, and, you know, risk him not getting the immortality if Immortus didn't free the immortality of everybody else. But then Immortus basically tugged on Cliff's heartstrings, and he said the power of Immortus can reignite you with your family. He showed Cliff and Jane, you know, like a fantasy memory in a supermarket where his grandson was all grown up and everything. And I thought, when I saw the mom, I was like, she looked a little big since the last time I saw her, but she was supposed to be older. The son was supposed to be older, and he showed him a life that he could have. And to me, that was the most dumbest thing out of all that, because Cliff knows it's not real. So what Cliff was basically doing, he's agreeing, because Cliff ended up giving him his longevity because he wanted the fantasy. Because Cliff knew, and Jane even told him, she was like, you know it's not real, you know he's lying to you. Cliff knows this shit isn't real, but he chose to live in the fantasy of having his grandson be older and being with his family. He's still a robot, whatever, but that would have been a time to have the actual actor, you know, like play the part. But Cliff gave up. You know what I'm saying? And that's the best way that I could put it. Like, he basically quit. He quit on his friends. He quit on the Doom Patrol. He quit on the world. Like, but Cliff basically gave up, and he dove into his more self. I mean, I guess he was dying, because I know he still had, like, the brain cancer situation. But, and you can see, like, the look of disappointment, you know, like, in Jane's face. And I agree with her, because Cliff, like, they could have did something. Because Cliff was the only person left, and they actually could have did something to stop Wally from, you know, getting his way. But Cliff fucked up. And I mean, between Cliff giving up his immortality and creating the zombie butt apocalypse by leaving the refrigerator open, I'm just like, he's the opposite of what you would call an MVP, like in this particular season. And then in the end, when they put Cliff's longevity in, and then Immortus was about to be reformed and come back to us, Dorothy of all people shows up with the superhero white girl from her episode, and I forgot all about that. Like, I legit forgot about that. When the white girl showed up, when the bootleg Captain Marvel showed up, I was just like, oh shit, I forgot that was the girl that, you know, Dorothy made come to life, and now they were like a superhero team when they were hanging out together. They went into the Shadow Realm to save the Doom Patrol, and I don't even know how Dorothy knew they were there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how she knew. Maybe we'll get that explanation in the next episode, but they tried to save the day, and then when Immortus was about to appear for the first time, then all of a sudden these bubbles started, well then, actually, before, let me go back for a second. At that moment, right before Immortus came, Madame Rouge and Rita showed up, and they were were drunk as hell, and then they thought they were there to save the day, and then everybody's in the room at one time. Jaime actually tried to fight, you know, like the minions off, tried to fight everybody off, but to no avail. And then after that, Immortus was just about to appear, that's when all these weird protective bubbles formed themselves around the entire Doom Patrol, like Cyborg, Larry, his friend, because Cyborg's boy, he took another piece of paper and he created those force field bubbles around the entire team. Again, he's the only one with brains around here who's actually thinking. So he was trying to protect everybody from Immortus. So then when Immortus finally showed up and came out of the chamber, when Immortus got recreated, we saw that Immortus is... So at the end of season 2 of Doom Patrol, that girl who was doing the play, that she was doing the play with Rita, she was leaving the play, and then that's when Madame Rouge showed up for the first time and bust through the floor, and then Madame Rouge actually took that girl and kicked her down into the abyss. And we saw her too, because when they were traveling in time, when they were using that machine to travel through time, we saw the girl floating around in the abyss. I think that's the same girl. The same girl that Madame Rouge kicked into the, into the void of space and time. She's Immortus, and that would make perfect sense, because like if anybody would be getting their revenge, it would be her. But you would think she would be getting her revenge specifically on Madame Rouge, because the one thing they keep telling us throughout the course of this entire season is that out of everything that happens in the future with the zombie apocalypse and with the Immortus and everything, Madame Rouge is the only person who's not around and unaffected by it. So I don't know if this girl kills her or whatever the case may be, but that was basically how it ended. And thank you for tuning in. Thank God Doom Patrol is back. So we got 2 episodes out the gate, so episode 8 is coming soon. Check me out on social media. Hit the notification bell, like and or subscribe. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down below so we can continue to talk about all the superhero goodness, especially this DC goodness for Doom Patrol. And let me know what you think, because like I said, it's a nice little tie-in. We know we only have 5 episodes left because we got 2 out the gate. So we know we got 5 episodes left. So I want to see where they go. Like, I want to see what happens. I want to see where this goes. Hell, do we get the Beast Boy cameo like from Titans? Like I said, but share your questions. Where do you think the season's going to go? Because right now, everybody's basically in a protective bubble hiding from Immortus, and Immortus is pretty much about to step out and give her monologue as to why she's doing what she's doing. I don't know what's happening, but the Immortus thing honestly needs to end in episode 8 so we can get to the zombie apocalypse, unless they're going to save that for the series finale. So that was it, guys. So thank you for tuning in. As always, check out my other videos, because my Comic-Con videos are going to be up on the channel probably by the time you see this. I got Loki on the channel as well, and until infinity and beyond, we're going to keep rolling out all the superhero goodness until we can't do no more. So until next time, guys, for some Doom Patrol action, we'll be back. And for the family of Doom, we'll see you next time, because about this,